YouTube, this is Sam from Tigers Schooling. In this session of the video, we're actually going to talk about the esophagus. So your esophagus, which is actually a fibromuscular tube, which is approximately 25 centimeter in length, that transports food from your pharynx to your stomach. If you see this diagram, you can see the esophagus coming exactly from the up to and ending into your stomach right over here, and you can see it posteriorly. That's it. So remember that your esophagus actually originates at the inferior border of your cricoid cartilage, right over there. Your esophagus starts around here at the inferior border of your cricoid cartilage and extend to the cardiac orifice of your stomach, right up there at your cardiac orifice of your stomach. Okay, right over there, and extend to the cardiac orifice at the stomach around the T, which is at the cardiac orifice at the level of T11, right? So you would be saying it rises at the level of C7, C6, which is the vertebral column on the posterior side, and ends at the T11. So we'll talk about the esophagus furthermore. If we talk about the anatomical course of the esophagus, we'll be saying that your esophagus actually begins in the neck, which is at the level of the C6. So here it continues superiorly with the laryngeal part of your pharynx. If you see it closely, right over there with your laryngeal part of your pharynx, or you can see the laryngopharynx right in there, inside right there. So it descends downward into the superior mediastinum. If you have studied the thorax and we have made a lecture on the mediastinum, please make sure you have the idea of the mediastinum and its relations, what is structure on them, very much important. So this your esophagus is here in the superior mediastinum of the thorax, positioned between the trachea and the vertebral column. So trachea is anterior to your esophagus and vertebral column is posterior to your esophagus. So that's why when the people are hanged, in any case by the judicial law, when they are hanged down, the first pressure is on the trachea because that's more anterior. So that's why and again their vertebral column also breaks up. So it enters the superior mediastinum and the vertebral bodies of T1 to T4. It then enters the abdomen via your esophageal hiatus. We know there are three openings in the abdominal region, in the what we call the diaphragm. One of them is your esophageal hiatus, which is opening in the right crust of your diaphragm at T10 level, and crossing that it enters your abdominal region. So the abdominal portion of your esophagus then, which crosses your abdominal esophageal hiatus, is about 1.25 centimeter long, which is very short compared to the esophagus, the full size of esophagus, that is the 25 centimeter itself. So abdominal abdominal portion of esophagus is approximately, I've told you, is 1.25 centimeter, comparatively very small. And it actually terminates by joining the cardiac orifice of the stomach right over here at the level of your T11. Right. Now further talk about this, and let's go to talk about the muscular layer of your esophagus, what muscular layer surround it. So if we're talking about the muscular layer, the esophagus actually consists of an internal circular layer and an external longitudinal layer. If you see this diagram very much closely, you'll find out these muscles are longitudinal from the external side, and if you go internally, they are actually they are in circular. So the further more the external longitudinal layer is composed of different muscle types in each third of your esophagus, which means we have divided our esophagus into three parts according to the external muscles. The external muscles, which are longitudinal muscles, which are different in different regions. So that's why because of that, different types of muscle we have divided into three parts. The first third part, that is the superior third, is actually your voluntary striated muscle. Your first superior part is a voluntary striated muscle. The middle part is your voluntary striated and smooth muscles, which means it contains both striated and the smooth muscle. Remember, we're talking only about the longitudinal muscle. We're not talking about the circular muscle. Remember this one. And the inferior third, you can see down here, very much close in this diagram, is your smooth muscles. That's it on the division of on the basis of division on the basis of the longitudinal muscle. So remember one thing more, that the food is transported through the esophagus by peristalsis, which is actually a rhythmic contraction of your muscles, which propagates down the esophagus. Hardening of these muscular layers can interfere with peristalsis and cause difficulty in your swallowing, which is also called dysphagia.